Previously on the Viewers Club, we talked about The Witcher.
Like the little cinnamon bun, like the weird, he's like the cinnamon bun of the group. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? The quote, innocent character that you
Yes.
know can't defend themselves.
I like that
We have
term.
serial
On this week's episode of the Viewers Club, we will be taking a stroll back in time to medieval times, where we will be talking about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We ourselves will go on a quest to the deepest depths of our nerddom.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
So hopefully we'll find it entertaining. See you soon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Viewers Club. My name's Lucas.
And this is Tess.
And Osama.
And I'm Megan.
Wonderful. We're all here, and we're all gonna have a blast. It's my first time moderating, so you have been warned. Another warning, there will be spoilers for Monty Python and the Holy Grail, among other things. So be careful and be cultured. Anywho,
You have been
warned. Now, how many of you? First of all, how many of you guys have seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yes.
I have seen it at least 20 times in the past few months in quarantine, so...
Nice.
It's a classic.
Yes, indeed.
Love it.
Yes, indeed. Osama, how about you?
I am new to Monty Python in general. I have made it, I think, about 3/4 into the film.
Nice.
You made it
Congratulations.
to Lancelot killing people, right? That's
Yes.
where you were at?
That is a
And,
lovely part.
saying
Yeah, you're
knee to
done.
old ladies.
You're almost done.
Mhm.
Saying knee to old ladies
You're
is
definitely almost
exactly
done.
where I left off.
Oh, what sad times are these when passing ruffians can say "ni" at will to old ladies.
It's a family-friendly movie, and it just really, it has, it has a lot of G-rated moments that, yeah, it's pretty great.
It's so...
Oh my
It's
god.
so weird because it
Yeah.
really is family friendly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, how is this family friendly?
Right.
It's so brilliant.
Well, and at the same time, there's
Yeah.
Castle Anthrax, so there's also that, which is like my favorite part of the movie. I don't remember. I laughed so hard when I can't I can't remember. But I laughed so hard when the knight was running away and like the main nun, she was like, "Oh shit." It's just that I died. That was like the last thing I was ever expecting her to say. So a joyous
God.
movie, a lovely time for family and friends. No worries, Osama. I am also new to Monty Python and that whole realm. I'm trying to watch as many as I can, but Holy Grail was the first, and I have to say it is a masterpiece in every sense of the word.
Holy
and-
Grail is like the first one that everyone
Yeah.
goes to.
Yes,
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
essentially, what you're saying is the Holy Grail is the Holy Grail.
Yes, in every sense of the word. Thank you for
Thank you,
that,
thank you, thank you.
Osama. You are
Applause.
shot. Thank you for the pun. You're banned. So thank you. Now I would say Monty Python in general has had a massive impact on comedy and the way that was perceived through the media. And I think Monty Python and the Holy Grail is one of their, along with Life of Brian, it's one of their most popular. And I wanted to ask you guys, how do you think Monty Python in general and Monty Python and the Holy Grail have affected comedy in the world of film and television?
I think, it's a really difficult one, and it kind of leads into something I wanted to talk about in general, is that comedy kind of changes
Mm-hmm.
every generation, every year in general, even in every few months, comedy in itself has to change just slightly,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why Monty Python and the Holy Grail in particular has had a huge cult following, but also kind of a weird rebound
Mm-hmm.
into pop culture, is because it's filmed and edited and done in a way that is very reminiscent of how internet is done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It has
yeah.
the cheesy, like, shots. It makes for, like, somebody
Yeah.
who's trying to make a short film with no budget,
Mm-hmm.
already stated by the fact that they have coconuts instead of horses.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh.
But it's,
Yes.
like, it's so random that it can survive in this day and age where the internet is just the most random thing in the world, yet it still comes up with the most funny content that people relate to. And I think that's why, in general, this has survived overall. Because it was funny when it came out. I'm almost certain of that. It was hysterical. It was random. It was family friendly, as you said. It was just really out there and weird. And I think that's why it was like a cult classic when it did come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then now the internet has just become so, like, so weird. It's so random.
Right.
And for some reason, Monty Python and the Holy Grail just reminds me of, like, meme culture.
Oh yeah. Well,
You
there
know
are
what
so
I
many
mean?
memes about it now.
Yeah.
Like there's
I know,
so
and
many
I think
Monty
that's why
Python
it
memes.
survived for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how it has survived, like, so many transitions from comedy in
Right.
general, because it does random so well.
Mm-hmm. It definitely ties in with a lot of different. There's a lot of different types of comedy within it. So there's something for everybody. Like there's something that's gonna make everybody laugh, irregardless of your age. So it's definitely it can stand the test of time. And what were your thoughts, Tessa? Sorry for interrupting.
That's no, you're fine. That's very true though. There's like different styles of comedy, but what I've noticed also, like, rewatching it is, like, I'll find like something that I didn't see the first or second or 20th time that I've watched it before, or there's like this underlying like message and to like this really deep like point. It's like, oh wow. It's like an endless pool. It's like it's really cool.
Right.
I love it.
I just love the fact that also nothing is off the table for being attacked.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
If that makes any sense, as far as comedy
Yes.
goes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like the women are like attacked, and that's usually for like most comedies in general. But also the men
Mhm.
are attacked
Yeah.
for being like so
Oh,
weak
yeah.
around beautiful women, you know?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
like the crazy old men, the weird wizard, the fact that a bunny is the killer. It's
Right.
just
Oh
like,
my god.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna bring that up.
Oh my gosh. And that's I learned about the bunny because I made I didn't fully make, but I tried to make a short film about a killer stuffed bunny rabbit, and my friend was like, "Oh, did you get that from Monty Python?" I was like, "What?" So that was
what?
they're
Oh,
like
no.
they're like the Simpsons of comedy. You know how people are like the Simpsons already did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're talking about animated TV show, well, Monty Python is like The Simpsons. They've done it all. And I like what you said, that nothing is off the table. It doesn't shy away from it's an all-inclusive insult, which is beautiful. You need to. It not only makes fun of
All
everybody,
I'm thinking about now is
makes fun of yourself as well. And I appreciate
I'm
that.
only
like
thinking
that.
about the I'm only thinking about the French person. Why do you think I have this ridiculous accent?
I
Right,
thought in your
absolutely.
general direction.
Right. Oh my
Your mother
gosh.
was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Elderberry.
Oh my gosh. You could fill an entire podcast full of these quotes, and all of it would be entertaining.
Oh,
my gosh.
man.
So good.
What I love
You
is
mean
the
African or European? I don't know that.
What were
Oh
you
my
saying,
gosh.
Osama?
Yes, please
Wait.
continue.
what I love is how they have the period appropriate political commentary jokes.
Yes. It's
Mhm.
timeless.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh,
I'm the king of the
absolutely.
Britons. We're all the Britons. You know, I'm your king. I didn't vote for you.
Oh.
Help, help, I'm being repressed.
Oh my gosh. Just
Oh
oh
my
my gosh. It's hilarious. It is something for everybody, and it's still accurate today. Like all of that stuff that it talks about,
Mhm.
it's just it can still be applied today. And honestly, another
Yeah.
thing that I like about it is it it's not afraid to make fun of itself, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. And I think that's really important for comedy and life in general, is not taking yourself and everything too seriously, and just being, we're just having fun, man.
I mean, they bring up the fact of the horses almost instantly.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's the first thing they comment on.
Oh my gosh.
And they bring it up instantaneously, and the reason that they don't have horses is because they couldn't afford them. Or the actors just didn't want to ride them.
Right. But they use it to their advantage. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love.
And it just sucks you into the chaos of the movie itself, and just like the world that they're in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
True.
What were you
so
saying,
chaotic.
I love it when they're approaching Camelot, and they're talking about how grand it is, and then that one guy, I forgot who it was, he goes, "It's just a model."
It's just a model.
Oh.
On second thought, let's not go to Camelot. It is a silly place.
Silly place.
And then
Oh my gosh.
the Trojan rabbit.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Oh my god.
Well, okay, so now that we're talking about all of these awesome scenes, I want to ask each of you, what is your favorite scene from Monty Python? I know it's going to be hard. What's your favorite scene, or favorite moment?
one?
Favorite anything? Favorite line?
Okay,
Favorite anything?
I'll go first. And it's the reason that I like this scene so much is because of the way that they edit it, and I give props to whoever edited this entire movie. They did it so well, and the timing is brilliant. It's my favorite scene, it's my favorite moment, when Lancelot is running towards the castle to save the damsel in distress.
I was gonna say that!
And then it keeps
Oh my
going
God.
back, and he's still at the same spot that he was running at.
Oh
Then
my
all of a
gosh.
sudden it cuts to a close-up of the guard again, but then he comes
Yeah.
and he stabs him. But he was like a mile away.
Oh my
It's
god.
It's my favorite use of how editing can add to comedy.
Yes.
And I don't think
Uh-huh.
anyone has ever done it since. It was
Yeah.
so well done. It was so brilliant. And I think that's one of my favorite moments in it. There are too many lines to choose which one is my favorite, but as far as moments go, that one's my favorite.
Awesome. Oh, my gosh.
Make it. That's my favorite part too. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Just the drums
you
that
just
he's
get,
running
like,
to,
sucked
and then you
into just
cut back to
staring,
the
you're
quiet
like-
guards, and then he's still in the same spot trying to
Yeah.
get to them, but it's still so intense. It's
For
just,
like a full 2 minutes. And then he's like, right
First,
there.
and
Like,
honestly, the first time I watched it, I was like, this could go on for another 10 minutes and I would still be laughing at it. Because
Right.
it's just like,
yes.
I'm
something
sure.
about it will just keep being funny. Whether it's the fact that Lancelot has not moved for 10
Right.
minutes, or the fact that the guards are just like, what the hell is this guy doing for 10 straight
Right.
minutes?
Oh.
It would still be funny.
Oh, I bet you could go on YouTube and find a 10-hour loop of it. You could go. You could just
Oh,
watch
no.
it
Probably.
for hours. Perfect. Oh my gosh.
So what did you do during quarantine? Well,
Watch 10 hours of Lancelot run. That's what I did.
We can recreate the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
you
my
could recreate
goodness.
every scene in this entire
Yes.
movie.
Right.
It's so good.
It's
Oh my
so
gosh.
great. So,
I gotta-
Tessa would. Oh, sorry, Osama.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna. So, kind of going in order, I suppose, of how my screen is set up. So, Tessa, would you say that that's also your favorite scene, or was there another moment that kind of stands out to you?
yes. It's there is another moment. There are lots of moments, but my next top moment I think is the sword fight in the woods.
That's-
Just such a scratch.
Rob's
What
off.
are you gonna do? Bleed on me?
It like barely touches him and like his arm flies off. And it's so obvious that it's like
Oh
it's like
my
a
gosh.
stuffed arm or something. It's
Yes.
great. I love it.
The fact that they had to dig a ditch so the guy could be legless
Right.
was
Yeah.
so funny.
I need to see an entire behind the scenes of this whole movie.
Yes.
Just see how everything did.
Oh, I
the
would pay
making
so
of Monty
much.
Python
I would
and the
love
Just take
Holy
that.
Grail.
all of my money.
All of it.
I
my
would
gosh.
watch
Take all of it.
Mm-hmm.
All of my money. I will watch every take. I will watch every cut. Like, just give me the raw
Yes.
footage and I will watch all of it.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
man.
Oh man. So Osama,
How about you, Osama?
now it's on to you. What's
All
your
right,
favorite
for me, it's a
moment?
toss-up. It's a toss-up between two scenes. The first one being when they're fighting against the French, and the guy asks for the cow, and it's very obviously a little plastic cow flying towards them.
Oh my gosh.
And then
Oh, man.
the second one would have to be when Lancelot goes to save Galahad, and he's taking him out of the castle, and they're following. Oh, he can defeat all of us. There's only 150 of them. I can defeat him.
No, I think I can take them.
I think I can. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. I think.
Galahad the Pure.
What about you, Lou?
Well, I think my favorite moment would have to be the scene on the bridge where they meet the old man in the bridge, and he keeps asking them what
Yes.
their quest was.
Yes.
What
is your
is your
quest?
quest?
It's a quest.
To seek the Holy Grail.
What is your name?
What?
What is your
The
favorite
average
color?
wind speed velocity of an alien swallow. What? What?
African or European?
I don't know that.
Oh, I don't know that.
Like,
The first time I
the
ever saw
entire
that scene,
dialogue exchange was amazing, and that is I really need to bring this up the next time like a film teacher talks about plant and payoff. That is a great example of plant and payoff, talking about the unladen swallow and the airspeed velocity, because it's brought
Oh
up
my
in the
gosh,
beginning of the
yeah.
film, and it's like
Mhm.
he's like, well,
Mhm.
you need to know these things as king. It's like it's such a great example of planting and it's oh my gosh. And I think that's another the kind of on a side note of the whole film, it's in terms of not taking itself seriously, it lets the audience in on the joke constantly. Like it's like
Mhm.
you know, like the audience knows what's going on.
I think
and it makes it even funnier because it's like it's a big inside joke. It's great.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the biggest example of that is the fact that the quote historian
Mhm.
gets killed,
right,
and the police are looking for the person that
Right.
killed
Yes.
him.
right,
So it's
Oh my
all being
gosh.
filmed, you know. But
right.
you're just like, wait, is this real, or was there are they like filming Monty Python, but all of a sudden their filming got cut short because there was a guy who got murdered by somebody.
Right.
I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh. One of
When
the
I got
greatest
wondered,
It's like
was that
ending
guy
on
endings
the
like-
joke
ever.
that this is a movie.
I love that they were all arrested by the
Mm.
police. That it's like it's just every bit of it. Bravo, Monty Python. With all my money.
Applause. Hats off to you.
Yes, hats off.
I think the thing that really makes this movie as great as it is isn't the fact that they have sword fights or it's fantasy or anything. It really has to do with one, the actors that they have in it, who are obviously amazing,
Mhm.
and then two, the dialogue that they come up with is so fantastic.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of like SNL in a way.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like one day
good,
they wrote
yeah.
down what was going to happen in this scene that they're filming. Like they know how the movie is kind of going to go, and then
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden they get to the very end of it. They're like, "Wow, we're running out of time."
Okay, they get
for the rest of
arrested.
this movie. How
Yeah.
do we end it? Oh, we get them
Right.
arrested.
I'm so glad you brought that
By
up.
other knights? No. By modern
No,
police.
police. That's perfect.
Police. Like,
I'm so glad you brought that up because that segues into my next question, which was how would you say Monty Python and Monty Python and the Holy Grail, how has it influenced SNL, and how has it influenced would SNL be more or less popular without the existence of Monty Python and with the existence of almost that propelling of comedy into film and TV?
I think it's like a question of
I'm
which
not
came.
gonna say
Osama?
Monty
You're-
Python came first, right?
Yes.
It's
Like,
a
I
question of
understand
which
the
came first, the
point
chicken
that
or the egg
Osama's
kind of thing, you know, because people who start off watching
Yeah.
SNL first are always going to insist, oh no, it was SNL first, because, you know, that's how fans get.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Right.
I think Monty Python came. I
I'm
wanna
looking
say
it up
came
now.
first. I want to say they came about around the same
Oh,
time.
damn it.
Didn't
Okay.
they?
It's oh, yes, they came out around the same time. Both 1975. More, would you say the existence of that film, would you say that propelled comedy and stuff like SNL and in films like in other different comedy films that follow that same genre, um, such as Airplane in the 1980s. You know, Airplane followed that same kind of
Mhm.
nobody, everybody's
Chaotic.
getting joked about, everybody's in on it. Would you say that it propelled forward that kind of comedy, or it helped that comedy reach its popularity? Or vice versa?
Mm.
Either way, would you say
I would say that because Monty Python and SNL came out around the same time, that there was already going to be this huge boom in the way that basically improv show was done.
mm-hmm,
So like we all know that the improv shows are a huge thing. They happen in theaters all the time.
mm-hmm.
I think that it was just a matter of time before stuff like this just made it into film. So I'm not
Mhm.
going to say whether Monty Python helped or I don't think it hindered it in any way.
Mhm.
I should restate that. I'm not going to say whether it helped it 100%, but I am going to say that it was a good jumping off point
Mm-hmm.
to what was going to be happening with like
Mm-hmm.
improv style shows and movies,
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say that I definitely can't say that it
Mm-hmm.
hindered. It definitely didn't hinder what was about to happen. So
Gotcha. Nice. And Osama, were you gonna say something about
I said what I was gonna say, but yeah, sure, I'll continue talking. I never get tired of my own voice.
Nice.
I agree with what Megan's saying. Like I said, I don't get tired of my own voice.
Nice. Cool. Tessa, do you also?
I mean, I think Megan pretty much summed it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Megan. Yeah. It
Thanks,
definitely
Megan.
didn't hinder it. I think it was more from the sense of kind of the same, and I'm going to talk about this in later episodes in regards to like Lord of the Rings and all that, but it's kind of like how I would say Lord of the Rings, the success of Lord of the Rings is a big reason why people thought that fantasy would be a really good idea or a really good medium for film and television, or at least people thought it'd be profitable or successful. Like I don't think that Game of Thrones and the later Harry Potter movies, I think that the success, especially the award success of stuff like Lord of the Rings, is a lot of the reason why people felt like it was okay for Game of Thrones, or it introduced people to that genre or that type of storytelling. So that was more what I was trying to say, is this type of comedy and this type of storytelling, would the success of that have jump-started the success of stuff like Airplane and Saturday Night Live? But I think you definitely hit the nail on the head that
I think
that stuff
to kind of go in a direction that you're
Mhm.
to kind of go in the direction that you're kind of talking about, Lucas. I kind of understand what you're talking about. I
Mhm.
think you're directing it in the wrong area, if I may say.
Mhm.
So you're directing like, did Monty Python influence TV like improv shows, like improve, hinder, however you say it? Did it affect television improv shows and movies?
Mhm.
I think what you should be asking, has Monty Python and in connection SNL or something like that, have these improv shows influenced the way that the internet watches
Mm.
and creates things? Because I feel like comedy today is very different than Monty Python. I don't see any movies coming out that are at all similar to the way Monty Python makes them. Even comedies today don't
Mhm.
follow the same formula that Monty Python did. But like
Mhm.
internet videos, viral videos,
Mhm.
things on like TikTok or Instagram or
Mhm.
YouTube, they do kind of follow the formula of Monty
Mhm.
Python, the randomness, the like. Take Smosh for example.
Mhm.
I can't say that Smosh in the early days
Mhm.
watched Monty Python and were like,
Mhm.
oh, let's make something like that. But they definitely took the same formula that Monty Python does, and they made those kind of improv short videos, you know.
Right, yeah. And my apology, I should have broadened, when I said effect, I should have broadened what I meant by that. It's across the medium of entertainment, not just restricted to film and television. I apologize for that. Like, also how it affected the way... It's mainly just how it affected the way comedy is presented in all forms of media. Like, and including YouTube videos, including Vine. Because, I mean, there's... that's so true, because there's so many different YouTube videos and YouTube channels that follow that same kind of random and you're in on the joke type of quality. And it's, you know, they've had such a massive impact in that way. And oh my gosh, I love listening to them talk in general. their interviews are great across every platform. Like John Cleese talking about his mom. Good God, that was great. But yeah. Do you guys have any other sort of final, or not final, but like any other thoughts on the movie and what it brought out in terms of the comedy industry, or just anything else about the movie that you found interesting? Cool.
There's
nice.
There's so many things to bring up about this movie that are just so great. I highly recommend that anyone who hasn't watched it, who said they can go their life without watching it or something, or believe that they can be working in film, or be someone who loves film and say, oh, I don't need to see Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I highly disagree with you.
You are in fact incorrect.
You need to watch it.
You're
very
fact
wrong. Incorrect, you uncultured swine.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberry.
Hamster, father smelled of elderberries. It's just... I think it's anyone who wants to get into comedy in general needs to watch how these guys work. I think that they were definitely influenced by... I don't want to talk about the influence of what might have influenced Monty Python and the actors and creators of the movies in general. Is I think that people like the vaudeville actors from early film and the Marx Brothers with their vaudeville act and their quick words back and forth to each other, I think that has a huge inspiration to where Monty Python began. Because if you've seen movies like anything that the Marx Brothers were in, the one that I remember most clearly is like Duck Soup. If you just watch clips from that and you can tell where some of the witty dialogue was inspired by, or where the vaudevillian kind of insanity comes from. So I just like seeing the evolution of comedy in general, and Monty Python was trying to, in a way, evolve the vaudevillian. Or vaudevillian, is that even a word? In my opinion, it looks like they're trying to evolve like the vaudeville comedy style, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So they take away a lot of the slapstick of it. So they still have slapstick in there, you know, like the fact that Camelot was a scene that happened and they were falling all over themselves singing and dancing and stuff. That's slapstick comedy. But like they brought in the vaudeville aspect with how quickly they were able to react to each other as far as dialogue went. You know what I mean? Yeah, they found really great places where pauses worked, where they could stretch out moments, and it was just so brilliant.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
I'm thinking of every scene from that, and I just can't think of like a perfect one that explains the entirety of Monty Python. You just have to watch
the whole thing in itself. Yeah. Well, and that kind of like building off of those different just building off of, like, you have those kind of big acts where it's like they were trying to take what already existed and was already kind of a known form of entertainment and just not like build it up and make it, you know, somehow try and make it funny and then also almost make fun of it in the process. Like those intermissions, like the intermission in the film.
Oh my god.
Totally.
The
Like,
fact
that's
that it was
just
like,
hilarious.
a few seconds, and then
Right.
all of a sudden they're still on the bridge.
Right. Just
It reminds
taking
me of
bits
kind of
of
how
it.
theater
Mhm.
does intermission.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like obviously theaters do intermission for
Mhm.
long shows, but I mean like the placing of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the very like climax of like a theatrical performance is
Yeah.
when you usually put
Mhm.
the intermission. You
Mhm.
know, so like something intense just happened, but
Right.
you need to express that time has gone by.
Uh-huh.
But they put it right in the middle of like the most like important scene.
Right.
And that's kind of like what they did there, but
Uh-huh.
instead of
Yeah.
like they're across the bridge, they're still crossing the bridge.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Again, like a brilliant use of storytelling through transitions and edit. Like they used everything they had, everything they could use, they used. And it's so impressive how they matched all that. But yeah, I mean, that's like, you don't need the intermission, but there it is. It's just putting it. It was great. It was great, and the whole thing feels
Speaking of
almost
which,
like a
here's
stage
our
production. And we're back. Thank you guys so much for waiting.
No, we have to
yeah.
continue like we were still talking the entire time.
Oh, yeah. So I said, stop shoving that porcupine. Oh, and we're back. Thank you guys so much for waiting. You caught us at a very awkward moment. So he didn't recover from that, by the way. Anywho, no, I honestly, I don't know what else there is to say about Monty Python and the ingenuity and the genius that went into it. How they pretty much built it up from scratch. They used what they could on such a low budget, and they made it work, and it's a cult classic today. It stands the test of time. You can watch it no matter how old you are, and you'll find something that you find entertaining about it. I don't know. I do not know what
Very
else
true.
there is to say. I do not. Well, do you have any
I don't have
any
anything.
final thoughts? Anybody? Any fun quips? Any fun stories to lighten the mood? Wonderful.
I do want to say this. The fact that Arthur, who was anointed by God,
Mhm.
keeps saying, Jesus Christ!
Right.
is so great.
Perfect.
He's saying... Oh, and the holy hand grenade. Yeah,
Yes,
That's
Thank
absolutely.
God for the
Absolutely.
holy hand grenade.
Holy hand grenade. I also... I don't know if any of your guys' science teachers did this, but when I was in high school, like the first week of classes with a new teacher in science, they have to teach you about the scientific method and
Mhm.
starting your hypothesis and then bringing up evidence and stuff. When we were relearning the scientific method, he showed that scene where the villager's like, she's a witch! And then he's like, this is how the scientific method works.
how
And
it
I'm just
works.
like, wait.
That's
It's-
perfect. That sounds familiar. I
Wow.
think I feel like my teacher did something like that. That's awesome. Oh my
Last
gosh.
semester,
That's golden.
last
Right.
semester I was taking a stats class, and
Uh-huh.
the professor, he's trying to, give us the general idea, and so he pulls up the bridge scene,
Mm-hmm.
and he makes us watch the entirety of it, and at the end of it he goes, this is statistics in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that.
Oh, Monty Python teaching us science and statistics.
Teaching us
Teaching us
frickin'
life.
everything.
It's
Oh
teaching
my
us
gosh.
fucking life, man.
Monty
Oh my God.
Python is life. It's oh my gosh. Yeah.
The best media is the one that can teach you without realizing you've learned.
Yes. Wise words.
Thank you for bringing wisdom into this.
Very
Yes. Wise words.
Neat.
Yeah.
Neat. I was.
A shrubbery.
A shrubbery.
The shrubbery!
That is,
Yeah. It's like
that
on one
entire
hand.
scene where they're,
Oh my gosh. On one hand, it
where
can
they're
get really
like
scientific.
harassing the old lady,
Yeah.
and they're just saying neat
Oh
to her.
my
She's
God.
like, no, neat.
Oh my gosh. Well, Well, I honestly don't know what else to talk about in terms of Monty Python. I don't know what else there is to say. It's an awesome film. Go watch it right now.
Other
It
than
is
quoting
on
it
Netflix.
word for word.
Right. I mean, we could literally quote the whole movie word for word, and it would be amazing. Like that, I would watch that podcast. I don't know about you viewers, but I would watch that, and I hope you've continued watching me ramble nonsensically with my buds throughout this whole thing. I hope you've enjoyed all of us giving our pointers on Monty Python. Thank you so much for watching. Do you guys have anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Lucas.
I know they are. They're listening right now, and they're judging all of us. Thank you for judging all
we
of
know.
us. Thank you so much. Yeah. So how about this? This is our question. This is our question for our viewers. What is your favorite quote from Monty Python? Give it to us in the comments of
that's a good
wherever
one.
this ends up. Thank you so much
Yes.
for listening. My name's Lucas.
My name's Tess.
I'm Osama.
And I'm Megan.
And we've been the Viewers Club. Da-da-da-da-da. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.